Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm taking a look at a sci-fi flick from 2010. That movie is Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus. Now, yes, guys, at the start of this month, I reviewed Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. This is its sequel. Yeah, because for whatever baffling reason, the Asylum thought it'd be a good idea to make a sequel to Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. And if you saw my review for that movie, you know that I hated it with a fucking passion because the writing was absolutely horrible and the special effects sucked and the acting was kind of shit. I kind of fear I'm going to get more of the same here. Now, I am not totally sure. I mean, I could maybe be going into this thing a little bit too biased, but you know what? Asylum movie, a shark film, I don't see anything good coming from this. And I would be pleasantly shocked if something good did. But the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus. Okay, guys, I kind of want to make this point real clear. This movie was made a year after Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, and somehow the CG is worse here than it was in Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. That's fucking terrible, guys. By the way, guys, not only are the special effects worse in this thing than in the previous, the acting is also worse. That's saying a lot. I just kind of wanted to share that. The acting's worse here than it was in Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus. And that's a fucking feat in and of itself, guys. Okay, I have a really stupid question, and I know I'm going to regret asking it. We know where the Mega Shark came from. At any time, they're going to tell us where the fuck this giant croc came from. I don't know why I'm curious. I just sort of am. Okay, I have another really stupid question, and I understand I'm not going to get an answer because it's a fucking Asylum movie, but the last time that anyone saw this shark, the shark was in the northern Pacific Ocean. Why then would a special forces unit still hunting for this shark be looking in the Atlantic Ocean? Don't you think you'd still be, you know, around where you last saw the fucking thing if you think it's still alive? I don't know. That's just a little thing known as logic. Perhaps maybe I'm putting a bit too much of it in here, but god damn it, it's just kind of bugging me a little bit. So, let me see if I understand this. I want to make sure I have this idiotic plan perfectly clear. They're going to trap both the shark and the croc in the Panama Canal and then bomb the shit out of it. They do understand that this shark, they've seen the fucker jump like 60, 70, 80 feet straight up out of the water. What the hell would stop, then, this shark from jumping out of the locks inside of the Panama Canal and being back out on the ocean? Again, I totally understand I am trying to work in logic in a movie that obviously is fucking allergic to it, but goddamn it, I want to see at least a little bit of common sense exercised in this movie. Just a little. That's all I'm asking for. Well, guys, that was Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus. Oh. Let me shut that off. Alright. Before I get into this, I want to say that when I reviewed the prequel to this, Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus, yeah, sure, I said it was incredibly stupid, but at least the story, what little story was there, made some level of sense. Let's talk about the writing here. Where Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus had a story that you could kind of follow and at least made even just the smallest smattering of sense, this piece of shit does not, okay? I watched this thing, I found myself asking questions again and again and again. Questions I knew were never going to be answered, because I am absolutely certain that no human being with even the smallest bit of cognitive thought worked on writing this thing, worked on fucking producing it, nothing. Because, guys, let me just state this for the record. Among some of the questions I have, and these may have a couple of spoilers in them, just giving you a fair warning. Okay, so, I want to know where the hell this giant croc was for the past some odd thousand years. I really don't think it just randomly sprouted out of a fucking African cave, okay? I don't think so. Where the hell has it been for the past, couple thousand or maybe even couple million years? Where the hell has it been? The movie never ever explained that. But they were able to explain that when this croc feels threatened, it's able to lay mountains and mountains of eggs. I don't know why. It was just their way of thinking. Now, if this thing was trapped in a cave until Africans were mining for diamonds, or correction, until fucking Australians were forcing Africans to mine for diamonds, then wouldn't it have been threatened while living inside of this enclosed cave? Under that logic, shouldn't there already have been tens of thousands of eggs, and they could have burrowed out or busted out just simply out of sheer numbers? That is one thing that makes no sense. Why the hell? Now, mind you, all of our main characters are part of a special U.S. military task force whose one job is to find and kill this goddamn shark. And their plan, their big plan, is to get the croc and the shark into the Panama Canal and then bomb the shit out of them, which is almost identical to the same plan they used previously when it was in San Francisco Bay and it was the shark and a fucking octopus. Now, this is a military group. They should have full functioning knowledge of the fact that plan failed on an absolutely biblical level. So why the fuck do you think that repeating it in the Panama Canal would work any better? I am genuinely curious about that one. When the shark swallows a nuclear sub and they're still shooting rockets at it in hopes to kill it, aren't you kind of afraid that if you kill it with rockets, it may possibly explode, thus causing mountains and mountains of radiation to hit the entire Pacific Ocean? Or correction, just a nice large chunk of it, thus kind of sort of killing all of the fucking, sea life in that part of the ocean. Did that part ever, cross their minds? Because, common sense would dictate that if and yes, they knew that the shark swallowed the goddamn sub, you wouldn't be trying to blow it the fuck up. You'd be trying to find a different method of killing it. And thankfully, they do. Again, that's kind of a spoiler. But it still wasn't good. Guys, I really wanted to just go into this thing and just say that the writing was bad. No. I'm totally convinced that there wasn't even an actual writer. I don't care that they've got a writer credited. Actually, is it one writer or two? One fucking writer. Actually, we have one writer and one person with story credit. I am completely convinced that there was no fucking writer and they just kind of made shit up as they fucking went. That is the only way to explain the mountainous lapses of logic that are in this movie. This is some of the worst writing I've ever seen, and I understand I say that a lot, but most movies don't leave me asking questions every 35 seconds because this movie fails to openly and genuinely explain any of the half-assed bullshit it's trying to pass off, okay? So yeah, writing here is a fucking disaster. And if there was a writer for this movie, I want that writer strung up and beaten soundly until they know how to fucking write something that makes sense. Oh, Jesus. Okay. So, the writing, oh my god. Guys, again, I also say this a lot. I could probably be here all goddamn day just talking about the writing. That's how bad this shit is. So, acting. We have a couple of big name stars, and well, by big name I'm talking like D-list stars at best. In fucking, let's see, we had friggin' Jaleel White, you know, Urkel from Family Matters, and then we had Robert Picardo, who played the Doctor on Star Trek Voyager, and I'd like to mention his character on Voyager was the only decent part of Voyager to speak of. So, you know, so we have two guys who they've shown that they know how to act. They apparently chose not to act when working on this, which also kind of leads more into my theory that there really was no script here. Because I kind of thought that if you gave those two a script, they would at least be able to phone it in and at least make it kind of sort of shitty, but not too bad. But no, there wasn't even that much effort here. And if those two were turning in a horrible showing, everybody else turned in one that was just marginally worse. But of course, I guess I should talk a little bit more about writing, because really I was just talking about all of the plot holes. Our characters, they have, as seems to be par for the course with movies from this studio, they have no personality or depth. We have two characters. One of them, his sole thing is he has been working on a fucking experiment involving sharks and sound. The other guy is basically a fucking scumbag who cons people in Africa out of hard-earned money in order to basically scare out ghosts. Essentially Michael J. Fox's character from The Frighteners, only far more douchey. And he also has a thing for Crocs. Those two apparently have some kind of a past, and that they do not like each other, so they're constantly fucking like snapping at each other, and that's it for character depth anywhere. That's it. Is we have some kind of a half-assed, half-baked conflict between fucking Urkel and this other guy, and you don't care. You do not give a shit because they have no personality outside of one of them's really into sharks, one of them is really into Crocs, and they don't like each other. They basically are a poorly written buddy cop duo, and that's not a good thing. And every other character barely has a name and has zero personality to speak of. I do not remember a single name from this movie, and I just finished fucking watching it. So anyway, writing is bad on every conceivable level. The acting here is equally bad. Camera work, though, is okay, and I would like to say that there is one positive between this thing and its fucking predecessor, and that is they stopped with the stupid editing practice of flashing to white and then having everything in black and white for about 2 seconds in order to make things seem more, you know, just basically to try to add a little bit more intensity to the film. None of that is here. That is the only positive I'm going to give this thing, is at least the fucking editor was somewhat competent. And when I say that, I mean competent in terms of he knows how to edit film without making it look as if he did it in fucking Movie Maker. Anyway, special effects. Oh boy, that's the only thing in this movie that's worse than the fucking writing, is the special effects. I'd like to say again, Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus came out in 2010. Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus came out in 2009. Somehow Mega Shark vs. Giant Octopus has better special effects from top to bottom than this thing does. I kind of sort of thought that, oh, you know, if there was maybe a year's difference from one movie to the next, the newer one would probably have slightly better effects. But hey, that honestly would be if we were working with a studio who knew what the fuck they were doing, and the Asylum doesn't know how to do that. So, not only do we have a shark who looks like shit, and a croc who looks almost worse, but we also now have jets, which look far worse than they did in the previous film. Helicopters, which look horrible. The only thing which actually is kind of sort of the same from one movie to the next are the subs and the battleships. That's it. But then again, it's really hard to fuck up a sub and a battleship when your standards are already so fucking low with the first movie. So yes, guys, special effects here are, you know, terrible just in terms of CG. And of course, all of this is made even worse by the fact that every single time that the every single time that the shark and the croc fight, they basically have about 5 or 6 like pre-made actions, and you just see those looped. And you might occasionally see them like mirrored or something else, or you'll see tons of tiny crocs like swimming around because the eggs hatched, you know, or whatever the hell. But it's still the exact same moves again and again and again. And also at one point they actually reused shots of their big ugly CG shark jumping over a battleship. It's a totally different battleship, however, it has the exact same markings as the one it sunk at the start of the film, because they couldn't even be asked to go in and change out simple fucking markings like ship number. No, all of that is there. It is lazy bullshit in terms of special effects from top to bottom in terms of CG, and that doesn't even talk about the bullshit that they put in that wasn't CG. I'd like to tell you about the giant croc eggs. I understand, guys, I am talking a lot about this. This movie was that fucking bad. The giant croc eggs you see whenever they are next to a person, it basically looks like somebody just took like a fucking egg-shaped blob of biscuit dough and is filming it using a really poor version of forced fucking perspective, so that way then a tiny little blob about this big looks to be about 15 feet high. And it doesn't help the fact that the texture looks nothing like a fucking egg. It looks horrible. Also, at one point when the croc is running through Orlando, it actually looks almost like they just filmed a baby shark from behind walking forward, because the legs are like a baby croc or a baby gator, because its legs are far thinner and the head is totally a different shape. They fucked that up royal. By the way, one last thing about writing. I didn't know that nuclear power plants could do this, but apparently all nuclear power plants are all glorified death rays that are able to fire arc flashes on fucking command at a moment's notice, because that is how they get the croc out of fucking Orlando, is they shoot it with a fucking arc flash from a power plant 20 miles away. I didn't know that power plants could do that, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if they couldn't. Guys, I'm gonna give you just the final word on this. This movie is probably one of the worst sequels you could ever fucking see. This thing fucks up in every single place where the previous film, well, also fucked up, but it didn't fuck up as badly. This movie is shit from start to finish, and I could not recommend this to anybody for any reason. It sucks. Anybody out there could probably make a better goddamn movie about a giant shark and a giant croc fighting it out, because you might have, like competent working knowledge of, special effects or power plants or just anything. If you have even half a fucking brain, you can write a better script, and if you have half a fucking brain, you can probably do better special effects too. Avoid this goddamn thing at all costs. This movie was a waste of time, and I am never watching it again, and it's yet even more proof I can throw onto the giant pile that sharks in movies almost always equal garbage. Now, because this is Fan Appreciation Month, Mega Shark vs. Crocosaurus came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in is a friend of mine. Her name is Kari. You can find her YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/firefoxkari. And Kari, thank you. I really have to thank you for sending out this movie. I genuinely thought that I had scraped the bottom of the fucking chum bucket when I watched Mega Shark versus Giant, Octopus. Apparently I was wrong. This thing is far fucking worse. Anyway, guys, I am done with this installment of Fan Appreciation Month, and oh boy, I certainly went out with a fucking bang, didn't I? But anyway, guys, once more, you can head over to Kari's channel. It's youtube.com/user/firefoxkari. Swing over there and check out everything she has there. And guys, I'm going to go watch something else. I don't totally know what yet, but I'm going to go watch something else. I need to fucking wash the horrific taste of this garbage out of my fucking mouth. So yes, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.